I want to thank you all for being here in a prompt and timely fashion and giving as much attention as you are able. Um, this, for the record, is Steel Heart Rusted Souls premiere actual live play episode. Um, the name of today's episode, our inaugural voyage, is What is Essential is Invisible to the Eye. In our recent history of our coterie, our association, our associates, they have learned the general layout of the political parties and power structures moving into Gary. Several inciting incidents have taken our ghost town of desolation into an actual war zone. The first, of course, being there was some massive direct terrorist action that took place in Chicago, the fomenting of which was centered on and in around Chinatown.
Hello.
Hi there, Josh. The actions taking place there in Chinatown caused the Tower of Chicago to send a vanguard of individuals seeking to wrest control, to back Modius's full control over the city, because as far as Chicago is concerned, the actions in Chinatown were started, fomented, and carried out by the Anarchs of Gary. This vanguard, upon arriving, found that Prince Modius, was no longer in power. In fact, he was no longer in presence. He was missing. He was gone. No one knows exactly where he is. So they sought to wrest control and order from the chaos of the streets. If not to make things worse, but to compound the chaos, the Anarchs of Gary were in a tizzy because their leader, Baron Juggler, is in the wind. No one knows where he is. No one knows where he might be. So there's no way to communicate with him, and everyone's hoping that he is in fact still this side of the grave. But based on the actions carried out at the abandoned king that was set aflame, where there are massacres in the street, no one is sure exactly how that may settle, how the dust from that may settle. So the Anarchs, generally aligning themselves beneath the banner of the co-baron, i.e. Evelyn Stevens, are still in a state of disarray, having survived an attack on themselves carried out in Chicago at the Succubus Club. They are licking their wounds. And if not for further dilemma, further drama, the depot, operated by the four major criminal organizations, their operations, how they carry out their true money-making ventures, has come to light. They not only engage in the surface level, small, victimless crimes, but they engage in outright human trafficking. They engage in outright butchery of kind, of all ages, of all sexes, of all predispositions. And they carry it out as humanely as Hannibal the cannibal might prepare for a dinner party. So, after surviving the previous night's actions and falling back to their own individual havens, we'll start with everyone giving a quick rouse roll as the blood begins to circulate, as the beast may begin to call, and the sun falls below the horizon line.
Is that 3 failures in a row? Amazing. 4, 5!
Great.
Well,
It's snack time.
Oh, that's wonderful.
well, we are off to a rousing start as eyes flick open. The beast crawling closer to the surface for the majority of our party, for the majority of our associates, and then the majority of our coterie. The beast has decided to make itself not only known, but to make demands. Feed me, Seymour. And so we'll begin in reverse alphabetical order, starting with Mason. Would you be so kind as to, upon awakening with your beast clawing at your insides, what hunger level are you at?
I would be hunger level 2 now.
So while it's nipping at the door of your soul. It is not quite attempting to tear through like Cujo. It is softly scratching without ceasing. That annoying, I have to get out, I need release, I need satiation. But it's not demanding enough to have you barring the door with all your might. So your eyes snapping awake in the comfort of your well-appointed condo, your car in the driveway, the neighborhood quiet as only the affluent neighborhoods are. What is your first action?
Just one thing real quick. Mason doesn't live in a condo.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway. So Mason awakens as he normally does, except with a little hungry, in his king-size bed, wearing his silk pajamas, then changes into his every night clothes, and puts his signature trench coat on. Then, all the while, Lollipop by the Chordettes plays through the house, and Mason opens the fridge to drink some extra sweet blood he has stored there. And he dances to the rest of the song, and out the door he goes, looking at his phone to text the group where they're going to meet up.
Okay. So moving to your fridge to get the nice warm taste of blood coating your throat and causing a small surcease. Does Mason have the iron gullet?
No, he does not.
Oh, so he's doing it for the taste, the lovely, sweet effervescence of life coating his throat. And as always in such situations with blood having been kept in the refrigerator, while it staves off the more odious factors of actually drinking down another individual's life juice, it does not ease or cause the beast to pause. In fact, tasting blood that is unfilling causes the kindred effect of having a small bit of bubble in your gut because you want something filling. Your beast demands something warm, something living, the true essence of life. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve and composure? Your target number in this case would actually be a 3 because you are indulging in the consumption of blood without it being something filling. So as that lovely effervescent scent hits your nose and you take a nice big swallow, what is your beast's response?
Composure and resolve.
Yes, sir.
Difficulty of 3 then?
Yes, sir. Oh, you swallow it down like only the most educated and understanding of connoisseurs could. You take a small sip, making sure that your fricative palate is stimulated, and you suck in a nice bit of air, tasting. Oh, it is sweet indeed. It is a sweet, mellow note. It's spicier elements having faded over the last few days. You know that you have maybe another 2 days max before it begins to turn, but in that time you will definitely enjoy the memories of how you obtained such delicatescent blood. So your text having been sent, where is it that you are immediately off to? While you await responses.
Probably just getting into my car.
Okay, so you move down to the Audi and listen to its quiet purr as you kick over the motor and begin to ease through the city, the desolate ghost town that is Gary. Its buildings filled with life, what little bit remains in the city. Even here in the affluent area of Gary, near Winthrop Harbor, there is a certain absence, like you are sitting on the edge of a knife waiting for the other shoe to fall, or better yet, for you all to be split right down the middle, because there is the weight, the difference between those who have and those who do not, while at one time was as wide as the country, is now considerably smaller. And even here in the affluent areas, you can see small telltale signs of fuck it, I'll get around to it when I get around to it. The houses, while still well kept, are not best kept. The roofing shingles aren't quite as pristine, the paint not quite as bright. The lawns, while still immaculately coiffed, aren't exactly manicured. And the blight that has caused roughly 90% of the upper class portion of the population to divest itself from Gary is unfortunately apparent. So easing out into the night, we shift our gaze to Marcus, having arisen with your beast sitting on your chest like a hungry cat demanding to be fed. What hunger does that place you at?
After what we saw the night before, I never did manage to get into my thermos, so that gets me all the way up to 3.
This is quite nearly as hungry, as demanding as your beast has ever been. It is full on demanding. It is knocking at the door like a police with a no-knock warrant. It is demanding your attention, and it is demanding it now.
I wake in the machinery access hole underneath the paper press in my factory. It's just a 6 by 6 foot, 6 foot high cell. Basically, it has a cot, a mini fridge, a couple of books, and a safe set into the wall. I get up angry at my beast for being so fucking loud, wanting to go back to sleep, but knowing that's not going to happen. I drag myself out of bed and head over to the mini fridge and smirk to myself, knowing that while the beast is hungry, the beast is about to complain. I grab enough blood to sate 2 points, and pour it into the thermos, filling it, drinking, filling it again, drinking again, listening to the beast at the same time being satiated but being disgusted by the source. I do have Iron Gullet.
You do, and it allows you to consume not only the freshly bagged, not only the whole uncut, but also the catenated and coagulated tripe that is the basis of all medical procedures. You have a good mix of both whole and cut, mixing the two as you usually do to conserve your supply of the good stuff. Your beast recoils at how dare you, especially when there is fresh, not more than 100 feet from you, as you can hear Diedrich above working at whatever task you set him to, your normal, mundane jobs that have come across your desk, come across your attention. Because not only do you attend to those below the table of criminality, but also those average citizens who want gifts or need a particular item for their cosplay or for their gifting. And as such, Diedrich is hard at work, busily compiling a bit of this and a bit of that, so that another project can be completed, another source of income can flow into your coffers. In the doing, while he busily moves about the factory floor, as it were, your beast spurs you on. It's never too late. You can drain him dry and change him into what we are.
Out of spite, I take the last swallow out of the thermos.
And it hits exactly like you intend. Like a gut wound. And while you can stomach it and there's no bubbling, there's no annoyance physiologically from the consumption of such mid to lower line blood, there is a conscious recoiling as you realize where you obtained your supply.
Yeah.
How they obtained their supply.
And as this is my feeding habit, I know that the beast is never going to be satisfied the way I eat, which also gives me just a little bit of joy. Before crawling out of the basement, I double check on my phone the cameras on the factory floor, and I wait for Diedrich to head over to his normal corner where all the traditional work is, the wood lathe and the arrow making area, the places he likes to play the most. As soon as he heads over there, I come out of my hidey hole pretend to come in from the back door of the factory.
As you make your way in, having taken the extra steps of obfuscating how you quite got there, you can hear him calling out to you before you even make it completely through. Got a fresh pot on. We're out of the good stuff. We only got Sanka left.
Oh, Diedrich, do you know that the Sanka is all you? I'm good. I wander into the main factory floor. I call out to the computer. Renfield, show me all the new orders. Stream 3.
And as that's compiling, your phone goes off. A text from Mason. Where are we meeting up?
I respond, I hadn't thought that far ahead quite yet. I have about an hour's worth of work I have to get through here. If you want to meet up here, or we can set up a meeting where it's more convenient for Ben and Josh.
Firing off that text as Renfield fills your screen. It is surprisingly loaded day. Somehow in the course of 24 hours, your entire calendar has been filled.
Son of a bitch.
And with that very colorful expletive, we shift gazes. Mamela, as your eyes spring open, the hint of the beast sitting not only within the glare of your vision, but fully possessing your visual range as you hear the drums in the distance, the war drums of your beast saying that the battle is afoot. And you know that just like yourself, it is filled with an iron will that will not grant you peace.
I already know where this is going. Roll out of the king size bed. Straighten the silk sheets, doing my best to ignore the beast as it's growling and stalking in the back of recesses of my mind. I pick up my phone and I actually dial to see if I got any hits on any of the dating sites that I'm actually a member of, and which one seems to be the most likely to feed on for the night before I even get started.
I see. Well, that being the case, do you have Heard?
Actually, I believe I do.
Excellent. That's always a good
Let
thing.
me check.
That will definitely add to your roll sitting in front of you.
Oh, no, I do not. That's a different character. Yes.
All right.
That's
So
gonna be a problem.
So that being the case, you reach out electronically using all of your guile, all of your skill, and you begin a culling of sorts. Anyone that's left you on scene, anyone that's left you on read, anyone that is playing all those sorts of games, you immediately cycle through like a machine gun on full auto. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma and subterfuge for me, please?
Alright, charisma and subterfuge. 5. There we go.
All right. So, and just so that we can make sure we have the correct understanding of what just took place, do you have technology?
No, I do not.
Okay. Well, that being the case, unfortunately, as successful as you are in getting the likes, getting people to swipe left instead of otherwise dismiss your reaching out, it takes you at least an hour to get a few bites, get someone to stop by or swing by the motel, not that far from where you are. And in the time frame of that happening, you receive Mason's text. Where are we meeting up? And there's a
I'll
choice.
respond. And you guys make the decision, send me the address, kinda busy.
And as that happens, you get a ping, as there's a lovely young lady who has decided that they will risk very much to spend time with your frame and to indulge in Netflix and chill without the Netflix.
Well, that could be Netflix in the back. I mean, I'm not a barbarian.
I think we have security footage just to prove otherwise. But as that is the case, so making your way to the nearby no-tell motel, which strangely enough, most of the no-tell motels are actually homes. They $60 a week, or the $300 a week if you get one of the nicer rooms, is far more attainable than the $1,000, $1,200, $1,400 rent that they would need. Now, find that in all actuality, math-wise, the difference of that $200 that they're saving versus that $200 additional they're spending on eating out or otherwise not eating is the make or break line for quite a few individuals and quite a few families. So as you make it to the no-tell motel and realize that the walls are thinner than they should be, and that it is not nearly as nice as a Hampton Inn or a extended stay, that it is in fact designed to be a quick in and out, a drive-in motel without the drive-in because there's only street parking. You make your way up to the second floor and realize that your assignation is just that. It is a pay-to-play situation, and that out of desperation, they have chosen to spend the time with you. While she's a very attractive young lady, the truth of her well-being is very apparent. Having lived as long as you have, knowing when someone is malnourished is very easily to notice, because you've often had to use food as a bargaining chip to get information, to complete assignments, to make your unlife easier. For a steak, back in 1960s York, you were able to enlist nearly an entire family's worth of intelligence officers to watch over your resting place during the day. And while you hate to admit it, you see the signs of poverty everywhere you look in Gary, because while the city has been in decline, that has been fomented more so by the predations of kindred society at large. So the peace has come at the cost of the well-being of the human population.
Oh, of course it has. All right. I spent about a good 20 to 30 minutes chatting her up, getting information, ordering food, and I tell her that generally I'm gonna, I don't eat while I'm out, as eating for me is very private. So I'm not gonna eat anything, but would she like anything? Whenever she wants to eat, I'll order it, have them drop it off. And while that's taking place, while we're waiting on the food, that's when the whole seduction will go into play, and then I'll take about 2 from her, and when she wakes up, the food will be there. Okay. Just to make sure that it's a great time for all, I will go ahead and make sure to use lingering kiss, just to make sure that it is a good time for everybody.
Okay, so dun 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 dun. Now, there is a euphoria that naturally comes from feeding on humans. There's a natural, unnatural pleasure that comes. It is the very real aspect of the kiss that has helped, because it fogs a portion of the memory naturally. You can play it off as a very rough sex or a very just rough robbery. There is a haze, and the mind seeks to rationalize what took place. That motherfucker bit me, but I kind of liked it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that illusionary pleasure and the mind rationalizing falls away with the lingering kiss. You very well know that you had the best time of your life, and you very well know that there were some very kinky things happening. Unfortunately, the other aspect of that is you feel refreshed afterwards. You feel revitalized. You feel higher than you have ever felt. And it very real and very actually can and does addict them to the kiss, not necessarily specifically even yours, but to the effects of the kiss. It does to the soul what heroin, crack, and cocaine have done to a multiplicity of communities throughout the world since time immemorial. And as that is settling in over your date, we shift our gaze. Joshua, there's nothing like being home. There's nothing like being surrounded by the very implements and tools used to mend, correct, and to better what God has created. There's a calmness that comes over you every time you're at home in your haven. There is a peace that allows you to go longer with between feedings every single solitary time you are at home in your haven. Coming to life, resurrecting for the night. What is first and foremost on Joshua's mind?
First things first. Put on crappy little white lab coat. Keep up this sham of being an actual doctor who didn't fail out of med school. Check if the little skeleton staff I keep when I'm sort of dead, can't greet patients, are still here. See if anyone's out in the waiting room with gunshots or stabs. Whatever these poor people did up to.
Okay. So with the demands of the beast sitting there just beneath your calm exterior, with you mastering yourself as best as possible, where is your actually at?
What does actually happen? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No. Where is your hunger actually at? What level is your hunger at?
2.
Okay. So you have been hungrier. Part of your upbringing as a good upstanding member of the Dragons. So this is manageable. This is doable. It's needing a bite instead of wanting a bite, but you can manage it. And somehow, as expected, unfortunately, the scent of wet dog and cat dander does help keep that immediate need at bay a little bit longer. Your staff, as underserved as they personally and individually are, considering that there's a skeleton crew of only 4 people to run the outward facing aspects of the veterinarian clinic, and as overworked as they are with such a light staff, they are surprisingly okay with it. They are surprisingly happy with it. If happiness was an actual emotion they could embrace, they definitely would be that. But as it stands, somehow due to being your property, somehow due to being yours, there's a malaise, there's a caloric disposition about them that makes this, you know what, I'm happy. They have a very droopy Eeyore-like affectations about themselves as they busily scurry from one patient to the next. Doctor, Miss Jones is in again. You hear a scream from one of the observation rooms, and you can smell the cooling warmth of your oven, because unfortunately part of your business is also the disposal of pets who reached their end.
Take it by the quiet, it's my turn.
Well, Joshua's getting settled with his staff, deciding what his next actions will be as the text from Mason reaches him. Where are we meeting up?
Josh will shoot him a short text. I got a few four little patients, 4 light patients here. How far on the clinic. It might take a minute.
Okay, so firing back that text and realizing that realistically, you should be busier. As one of the few clinics that have payment arrangements, as one of the few clinics that you don't need the business, but you have grown accustomed to a certain ebb and flow, and you are lighter than you should be. As busy as they had been during the day, you know that there aren't any of the other clinics that are actually open and available at this hour of the evening. Like most other things throughout Gary, most of the businesses close early or don't open during the day.
Go have a look at Miss Jones's little friend and how bad he's at.
Miss Jones is one of the few urban dwellers who actually has a wild animal as her companion. She has a raccoon that always attempts to bite you, partially because it understands what you are, so it doesn't have the fear response of most of the animals cowering and cravenly pulling back from you. It seeks to attack every time that you draw close to it. In defense of Miss Jones, and as per usual, it hisses at you, as only a too smart for its own good raccoon can.
So what's wrong with him this time?
He's been sick. I don't have any rat problems, but he's been sick. He's been, and she starts trying to stroke his fur as it's standing on end and attempting to get to you. I don't know what it is about him not liking doctors, but he's always this way. I'm truly sorry, Dr. Bishop. I really, really am.
They get into the trash again.
No, he hasn't been out except for to come here. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll wits and medicine for as you begin looking over the little rascal? And as you get close and start doing a quick once over of the raccoon that has every intention of taking a finger or a gobbet of flesh, you realize, yeah, he shouldn't be this strong. He shouldn't be this aware. It has consumed some kindred's blood that is not your own. And with that realization falling over you, we shift our focus. Then your eyes snap awake, the feralness of your time spent as an owl settling over your memory like a fine film. Your beast making its demands. What hunger level does that place you at?
Oh, it's a bad night already. I'm at 3.
Oh, yes. The drive to hunt the prey that you had 2 nights ago, being as it was not enough, did not satiate, and then the hunt, the feelings of the need to hunt having come over you last night, freezing you in place, making you nearly comatose with that need and that drive has not abated. You are still very much affected by that need, by that drive.
There is a definite frown to her face as she rolls out of bed and does kind of like the old person thing, even though technically she is in perfectly good shape for somebody their age. It's just, it feels like she should, so she does it anyway. The groans and the creaks and rubbing at her back and shuffling away from her full-size bed and heading towards the closet, trying to remember whether she has any work due tonight or if she can go right out and go hunting because her beast is telling her she needs to go eat.
Well, with the garage being a notable biker outlet, as Gary is on the lake tour, where they'll ride from northern Wisconsin down and around up into Michigan and back. There is no shortage of work for bikes. There are mufflers, there's exhaust, there's fuel pumps, there's filters, there are various other small preventive maintenance aspects that needs to be tended to, as well as there's the in town very much biker population and biker community that will come through and pick up various parts, work on their own bikes. And unfortunately, that also includes the weekend warriors who only bring their bike out the moment the weather turns nice enough to be seen on it, and they ride it for 5-10 miles the entire summer. But those folks are beginning to pour back into the shop as you see 4 Harleys, 2 rat bikes. You see a couple of rice burners, all filling up space in the shop.
She pulls her hair back up in a ponytail, rubbing her temples, wiggles into her overalls over the pair of fresh jeans and a tank top, and heads out to greet the owners of the bike, get their name and information, and send them on their way as quick as she can, so she can still make her way out.
So as you're doing that standard good service due diligence, Mason's text comes in.
I roll. That's a text message. But she pauses just long enough to text back, kind of full house here tonight, and I still need to go get something to eat. It's going to take me maybe about an hour and a half. We can meet wherever you guys choose. Just text me back the address. And then she sends that off and finishes buttoning up the whole business aspect of what she has to do.
Okay, so the early portions of this evening is tied with dealing with the very particular needs of the biker community of the area. And as the inundation of mundane though passionate interests fills Ben's focus and time, we shift our gaze back to Mason. Having received those texts back, receiving that contact, where is it that Mason is heading?
Well, that's helpful. Okay. I'm going. I tell the factory, or whatever it's called again.
The depot where you were last night, or are you speaking of Marcus's farmer's market?
The place we were at that we spent the night in.
Market.
Yeah.
Marcus's farmer's market. So, with it being down that dead end road, so very close to the river, in the tooling through town, watching as everything befalls the city, and you having to make your way down. Let's see, which way would you probably take? Would you take the 65 down and get off there at the interchange? Yeah, that's probably what you do. So that being the case, you're making your way just past Central, down 65, so that you can get to the interchange. And just before you completely cross Central, you see flashing lights in your rearview mirror.
Wait, like red and blue?
Oh, yes.
Yay! Okay, slow down.
As you ease to the shoulder of the road and the officer pulls in behind you, instead of it being the state police or the sheriffs, it is a gentleman dressed in a two-piece dark black suit. And by dark black, it is dark enough where it seems to pull in all of the nearby light into itself, not reflectively, but just kind of absorbing all of the light around as he moves.
Well,
to
that's
drive.
something you don't see every day. Officer, may I help you?
Probably not, but I'm going to try anyway. Your vehicle
Yes.
was seen leaving a fairly problematic zone of intelligence. I'd like to ask you, son. And he leans in, and you realize that the officer leaning in is late 50s, salt and pepper hair, his nose looking as if he spent more than a few hours actually in a ring, his ear matching it. His warm caramel brown eyes meeting yours, almost threatening you to look away.
Well, of course, I don't look away.
We're keeping an eye on Etna. There seemed to have been some violence. Would you happen to have been in Etna, or perhaps your vehicle was missing?
So, sir, I know my vehicle is not. I probably parked around there accidentally, and went off to do my own thing. For you see, I can't believe you don't even recognize me. Well, I guess my picture isn't on the book. Have you? I'm trying to think of a title on
So,
Bloodbound.
no, I don't read
Vampire
that.
books.
No, I don't read that garbage. There's too many strange and interesting things happening in the real world. But I suppose, being as you're driving your car, that it hasn't been out of your possession.
No, it hasn't. But I probably parked by this place you speak of to go to a book signing.
Do me a favor, if you happen to care about anybody or care about what happens to them.
Sir, that doesn't sound awfully cop-like, I should say.
That's your problem. What's your cop sound like?
So, can I go on my way?
Sure, I think we both understand what's just been said. And he moves away from you, back toward the car. Unlike most police officers who stop for a random traffic incident, a less than random traffic incident, he didn't say you were doing anything wrong. He didn't even bother to make anything up. He merely relayed that you should stay out of the Etna area. Funny enough, as the case may be, the depot factory actually is in Etna. Not the farmer's market. No, our market actually stays. But the depot actually is in Etna. It was once known as the Etna factory.
Okay, but before I go to the Marcus's farmer's market, I do a couple like I try and not go a direct route, try and lose the guy before I continue on to going to where I was going.
Yeah, not a problem. You for a second, your paranoia kicks in as he follows you off at the interchange, but he instead circles back towards Central and heads back north.
Okay.
You know that your Audi is a little bit distinctive. It's not that hard to
It's a
catch
hot rod. That's a little
Yes. But as you make your way to the farmer market, pulling up to the door, you can hear Marcus inside speaking with Diedrich. I didn't really want to work next week much all of it anyway. Today it kind of wiped me out. I mean, we've had 4 bindings. There's an additional quiver of actual target shot that I had to put together. And we're going to need more feathers to make the flights for these arrows anyway. So I can do a little bit of shopping and try to stay out of your hair as much as possible. Plus, maybe next week you can get some better coffee besides the Sanka. Make me feel bad, me enjoying all these fresh pots and you not taking any. Marcus, you hear the car before it comes onto the camera view, but you know that bright red Audi anywhere.
The VW Bug and the car under the dust cover are taking up most of the space, but I quickly run over to the barn doors and open them because I know he's going to lean on his horn if I don't. And then I throw the bug into neutral and push it a few feet forward, just to give him a little more space to get in. Because he won't leave his car outside. I swear to God, I'm going to start raising pigeons inside.
Okay, so, Marcus, thank you for not making me do the thing I did last time. Beauty. But there's an actual reason for it this time. Some weird cop pulled me over on the way here, and he did not sound too friendly.
Well, I mean, it's Gary, so the cops are...
He threatened my, anybody I know closely, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think normal cops do that.
No, but it's Gary, so the cops are not only for sale, they're cheap. So it could be
He was also in a black suit.
Oh, well then I think you can assume that that gentleman might be bloodbound to somebody, possibly even turned.
Wait, was it like a normal patrol car, or was it like a undercover looking vehicle that pulled me over?
Oh no, it was a standard uniformed officer's car. It had the full lighting rig, and it was fresh off the line.
Well, he certainly didn't go through a lot of trouble to cover his identity. I'm gonna guess he might be turned. And tossing a coin, I'd say probably Tower, more likely than Anarch.
Well, I'm buds with Anarch, so I would hope that they wouldn't be threatening me.
I don't know, I've been threatened, cajoled, and otherwise intimidated by everyone short of the bunnies that live in the tree line behind my factory, so I'm having kind of a rough week on that area, but definitely hiding among the police, but not hiding really well. That sounds like a Tower thing.
So we're all getting contact, feels like.
But definitely get your car in all the way so we can close up the doors, because I don't want to be seeing your Audi right now.
What about your bug?
Hey, I moved it far enough. You can fit. Don't be a baby.
I still am very curious what's under that tarp, though.
Don't touch the tarp.
Oh, I won't.
It's a collector's item, still mint in box. Don't touch the tarp.
What, is it an X-Wing?
Not giving any hints. It's my baby. Leave it alone. After all the abuse you've given Herbie, you don't get to know about the other car. Mason, you haven't been here very often.
No, not really.
The guy packing up and getting ready to leave, that's Dedrick. He's a friend of mine who's a maker. He's not really in the know about a lot of things, but he's a nice guy.
There's nothing that you can do that I can't do better, he says, slipping on his coat.
Yeah, unless it has buttons and a screen.
I can make buttons. Why would you want to screen print anything these days? T-shirts don't sell.
Oh, dear God. Dedrick's a bit of a Luddite. Dedrick is kind. He's in his mid-50s. Has kind of a weird, old retired guy smile on his face most of the time.
Wait, and he knows?
He knows nothing. He's not in the know, but
okay.
He knows
everything.
Well, in his mind, he knows everything as long as it's something that happened 100 years ago and used hand tools.
You know the problem with you and most of you newfangled wannabe makers is you no respect to the ways that will outlive our electric addiction.
Okay,
your hands.
Addition, look at this piece of work. There is nothing. It is not fueled by electricity, as he points towards his as Mason points towards the Audi.
And did an American make that for you? No. Did someone handcraft it for you? No. You all gonna learn one day that the only thing that's gonna last are the things that we make with our hands. The decisions we put our hands on and make ourselves are the only thing. You know what? I'm not talking to you
Dedrick,
about this. You know. I know you know. You have to know. There's no reason for you not to know. You're just being stubborn. Eventually, you'll come around. Hopefully, it won't be too late.
I gave you plenty of work to do, and the money's good.
So
And
you know things that are
your hand skills.
so you know things that are like 100 years old. So I've had it's been in my family for generations. How perfect is this? And I take out my pen that I always have.
Now that is almost brings a tear to my eye. And he finally picks up his backpack loaded with the few hand tools that he keeps on him. I'll be back tomorrow. Clean up behind yourself. Have a nice night. Whatever you two are going to get into.
Just try to get that wood planed out and drop it off tomorrow.
Don't worry, we'll be good boys.
You guys going to do Blockbuster and Duster or whatever it is? He laughs as he leaves the area. And as he leaves, so too does our focus. Watching the young lady sleep on the bed, divested of the very, very willing, if not completely focused attentions that she attempted to apply. You know that in a different time, Mamela, that she most assuredly would have been a camp follower or a true courtesan. The natural ability and skill, the investment to make it seem as if you are the only person that receives her attention, or at least the fullness of her attention, is very, very prevalent and very, very present. It is clear that with a little better options ahead of her, that there will be very little things that she would not be able to accomplish. She already has the very real understanding that everything is about seduction, making the other person feel wanted by investing your attentions in them, even if that's not actually the case. The seeming of wanting to be there, the fullness of her attention would be enough to fool most into believing and making them feel wanted, making it feel as if their efforts and energies aren't wasted. She has that in spades, even in her deplorable situation. And as you make sure that the food is protected as much as possible from potential bugs that may be in the walls, that you know are in the walls, and as you realize that this room was chosen because it very much is she lives. She's clearly taking steps and pains to make sure that it is not obvious, really personal, an easy view. But as you go through the clothes hanging in the closet, as you put the food away in the fridge, the small little signs of life, space that has been lived in, is obvious to you.
Is she still completely unconscious or starting to rouse?
Oh no! Between the excess energy of the kiss, her being charged like an Energizer bunny, and between being fed upon, yeah, she's out for at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
Okay. I will make sure that I leave her my number. And did she get here by cab or Uber? Did she drive her car?
The signs that are present in the room denoting that she actually lives here are too obvious for Mamela to not notice. He has been around a good deal, and he does pay full attention as often as possible. His natural paranoia taking over. The fact that she lives here and that she works here.
That's problematic. That is definitely problematic. I will leave her my number because I could definitely use a dot and heard. And I am going to make sure that how much rough cash would I have in my wallet?
So you leave her quite a few bills. What's your resources?
Let me jump back over to it real quick. Resources is 2.
Okay, so you could blow a couple of $100 without it really impacting. It means that you'll have to take lunch to work with you instead of eating out this week. But it's definitely doable.
Okay. Put it in, fold a sheet of paper over it, and just say something like, something like for rent or light phone bill, so I can call you later, something like that. And then I actually take out my phone and text Marcus and Mason. All right, where we heading?
Unless you send that text off, where is that you're to in the meantime?
Well, since I don't know where they are, I'm going to assume that Josh is probably still busy doing whatever he does. It's like a very creepy doctor. I'm not sure what he does. So I'm going to drop in on Ben.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So you head out and begin to head left northeast of where you are right now towards Marsh Motor Works. And as you make it to your car, we shift our gaze. It is, Joshua, it is very, very apparent that this raccoon has been fed or is feeding upon a kindred that's not you. You make sure that you're not bitten as often as possible. You make sure that you're not scratched. You make sure that you don't leak any vitae around your patients, either human or animal. Yet this raccoon is showing all the signs of increased strength, a small bit of increased predatory nature, and most importantly, as you stare into its eye to check the back film, the light isn't reflected as brightly as it should, which in animals that have state between living and dying, being fully alive and being ghouled, is one of the sure signs.
Joshua rubs his bare chin a little bit, thinking, I think I'm gonna need to sedate your little fella right here and draw some blood to see what's wrong. I'm gonna need you to sit out in the waiting room, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind, but couldn't I just stay and keep him calm? He's already worked up being at the doctor's. Rascal's such a good boy. He really doesn't mean this. He's just nervous being here.
Something has riled him up quite a bit. I don't know. I think it's mating season for him. They're very aggressive. I would think it's much better if you got in the waiting room. I'm gonna need my assistant for this. Okay, Dr. Bishop. Sure. I'll be right back, Rascal. She leans down and gives him a kiss and tries to hug on him. And Rascal is focused on you, making sure you stay far enough away from him and from her. As she heads into the waiting room, what is it that you're doing? Josh has done our call out to his shithead freeloader, Doug, who was born with very, very strange little bloodline, we can call it that. Bratovich, what they would call it, his older dragons would call it. Josh knows him as lazy. He was born with more tough skin, so very used to holding down patients.
Yeah, Doc. What do you want?
I need you to grab him so I can inject him with a little bit of sedatives. I'm not touching him.
Yeah, okay. Remember Rascal, and literally he pounces on the raccoon, and the fight is as comedic as it is clearly dangerous. If he was not blessed with the additions of his family, Doug would probably be leaking severely and in need of emergency medical treatment himself. Instead, the fight is fairly vicious, but unfortunately more experience on Doug's part has him properly get the better of Rascal and holding Rascal still as Rascal hisses and attempts to mark Doug and the area.
Josh will make sure the syringe works and inject him.
At just under 1.75 times, which should sedate an animal almost twice Rascal's weight and strength, he finally goes out.
Saying
Doug extricating himself from the animal. Is it me, or is he getting tougher?
I think so. Someone has ghouled this animal.
Oh, well, sucks for them. Raccoons are too damn smart. You don't want to ghoul them. It's like ghouling a human. Fucking idiots. Damn amateurs. I'll be out front if you need me.
Alright, you can do the rest you want. The night. I don't think I'll need you. I want to meet with some associates.
You say that now, and then I'm going to be getting like 17 texts the moment that I fucking leave. I'll be here.
Not like you answer them.
Because you send so many. I barely get a chance to respond to one, and I've already got 16 more. You know, you probably were a stalker in a different life. You need to check that out. Make sure you control that energy. Like, I know that was you that was sending me those random DMs like on IG. And he leaves.
Yeah. Joshua will examine Rascal a little more now that there's no threat of death or injury.
Having your experience with the effects of blood on the living, you know that Rascal is pretty much mid-cycle of a first treatment, so maybe another 2 weeks into it. You know that if he's not dosed again within the next 2 weeks, that it should fade away naturally. Unfortunately for you, you don't know who or what dosed him or how he obtained the vitae, and you know that it only takes, a tenth of what it would take to properly bond someone to you for this to happen. As those thoughts are settling in, you're putting Rascal at peace to observe for the day with your day staff to give it more time of him not potentially being dosed again. The very real aspects of what has taken place and what's needed. There's a choice that you all need to make, and it's better if you all make it together. So, to that end, do you text or do you simply go looking for other member association?
I'm gonna text them and ask if it's the same meeting place as last time.
Okay. And as you send that text and wait for the quick response, divesting yourself of your at-work attire, or at least covering it up, you heading to your car. We shift our gaze as Amela eases into the parking area outside of Marsh Motor Works. It's good work. It's honest work, Ben. Unfortunately, it is inundated with a bunch of fucking amateurs. The person had heard about these mysterious glass pipes to make your bike sound more monstrous, and unfortunately, that myth has a lot of the amateurs coming in for louder and louder exhausts, which means that they're not getting as much fuel efficiency, which means the fuel pump is getting gunked up because they're attempting to get less efficient mufflers, less efficient exhaust systems so that their bike sounds louder, all the while fucking the engine 17 ways a Sunday. And as busy as you are, you realize the bulk of everything that's happening tonight is because these assholes took their bike out without, one, having winterized it, being as they weren't going to ride it, two, properly primed it for riding before hopping on, turning the key, and, well, ending up here throwing money at you.
When Mamela comes in, the look on Ben's face is every bit of angry, pissed. There's like so many words for it, but only one facial expression. And on top of that, with the hunger nipping at her heels, she is having a hard time not full Nelson choking one of her newest to come in, because being what she is versus being what they are, they feel like she doesn't know what she's doing despite this being her shop. And he's talking down to her, and she is not enjoying being polite. And
Hey, there's no reason to be all uppity about this. I'm just saying that when I put the bike in the garage, it was perfectly fine, and you all, when I was here last August, said that would be fine to do. And now you're telling me that the fuel pump is backed up? There's no such thing as even a fucking full fuel pump. Don't you know that this is a Ninja? A Ninja. I paid 16 grand for this bike. There's no way that there's a stupid fucking fuel pump. There's not some back alley Harley here. Do you got a real mechanic secretary, or are you gonna just stand here wasting my fucking time?
First of all, if there is no fuel pump on your bike, how does the fuel get to the engine, smartass?
It's a fuel injected system. Duh.
Oh my god, you are too stupid to ride a bike. You know what? I'm gonna fix it this time. I'm gonna fix it, but this is the last time. If you bring it back to me again with
you're gonna fix it. You're gonna fix it instead of one of the real mechanics. Instead of one of the real mechanics. Come on, stop pulling my fucking leg. Give me an actual mechanic over here. You've already taken my name and my number. Come on, let's go. Chop, chop, sweetie. Mamela, you're walking in as this is happening.
You know what? I'm done. You can take your money elsewhere. I start pushing his bike out the garage.
What the fuck are you doing?
What somebody should have done a long fucking time ago. Now say anything else smart to me and you're gonna eat the handlebars.
Would you like dipping sauce?
Would you people stop trying to gang up on me? Can you just leave my...
You people!
I'll let you handle that because I'll be on TMZ if I do.
I meant you non-mechanics. Can I get a mechanic over here to service me? You clearly don't know what you're talking about, and you're touching my bike. You're touching my property, and you don't even look like you ride.
No, I'm more manly than that. So go find something to do with yourself. Ben, has the guys reached out to you?
Don't ignore me. What, you want to go, buddy?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to be?
Completely turn around so that my back is to him while I talk to Ben. So, have the guys been in touch with you?
Yeah. And I'd be ready to go if it weren't for this idiot. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's a shame. We're actually late, I think, because I had some business to tie up, and we're late. So, can I hit your ride? Can I leave my car with you?
Oh yeah, you're fine.
As you two are talking, he is literally still screaming about you touching his bike. How dare you? And I can't even get any service. This place fucking sucks. He's going to leave the most accurate, meanest Yelp he possibly can. No one's ever. He's going to shut you guys down. His friend is part of the building superintendent. He'll make sure you don't work in this town ever again. Blase, skippy on.
Lean on his bike just for the.
I'm looking at Mamela. Can I eat him? Can I eat him, please? Just a little bite.
He seems kind of scrawny and sort of salty. He might give you a bad taste. You want that. Oh, by the way, I was thinking, my car might need a tune-up. How much you gonna hit me for?
Depends.
Will you stop leaning on the bike? I don't have you. Fuck you. And he's sputtering and going near apoplectic. His phone is in his hand and he's all but jumping up and down, waving his arms in anger, his face having turned 3 shades of fire engine red, and it is clear that one more straw and it's more than likely he's going to respond even worse and actually get
physically involved.
Oh, I want to see it. I need some entertainment tonight.
I'm not gonna do this guy like that. You know that. I'm not gonna waste my energy on this guy. I lose respect in my own eyes if I put him on his back. So, no.
So, extricating you got yourselves from the situation, where is it that you might or would you respond in kind? Would you hop into Ben's truck? Would you hop into your car? What is it that you guys are attempting to?
So my final thing is I finish pushing his bike outside and I start pulling the doors down for the garage and locking them.
I just sit back and watch. There's no point in me interacting.
So do you guys reach out to the others, or do you just get into the car and drive?
No, I toss him
Ben
my
knows
keys.
intimately. Ben knows intimately that for the most part, Marcus is a homebody, unless of course he needs something or is otherwise invited out. That there's very little chance that Marcus will ever leave his haven.
Yeah, so I toss him my keys and I text Marcus at home ? And then get in the car to wait for the answer.
Okay.
And as you all hop into Ben's truck, Mamela, strangely enough, driving. And as old as the truck actually is, it's not like you have the opportunity to slide it up or back or adjust the lumbar support, but it is surprisingly comfortable. It is well loved and taken care of. The leather seats soft and supple. And unfortunately, as you all lock up with the Ninja Rider trying to manipulate his bike into the back of his truck, this time without the use of the ramp that Ben's garage provided, the laughable nature of him attempting to lift his bike into the back of his truck is enough to have even the surliest of ogres chuckling, because it is a complete comedy of errors and a 100% failure rate. So,
You know, I'd almost feel bad enough to help, but nope, not even a little bit.
I shout back out the window, see if Yelp will get you a ramp.
So all the text sent to Mason and Marcus from Josh, Ben, and Mamela, what are Marcus and Mason's responses as they're discussing, as Diedrich leaves, what their options are? Those texts arrive.
I text, I'm at Marcus, and PS, don't probably swap your vehicle if it's if you used it when we went to the depot. There's some weirdo that pulled me over. Weirdo cop. Exclamation point, exclamation point.
And Marcus, with the question from Ben being, are you at home?
I takes back. Of course I'm home. I got the pretty boy with his pretty car here.
All right, so with everyone receiving that information as to the fact that that Marcus and Mason are at the farmer's market, we will take a quick intermission and be back here at 41 after the hour. See you all in roughly 9.5 minutes, not that anyone's counting seconds. We're back. Everyone still present?
Yes.
Maybe.
All right. So when we last stepped away, everyone was en route towards the farmer's market. Arriving, are there any particular plans or actions that you all take that is part of your regular arrival? And because we're working in reverse alphabetical order with Marcus and Mason already being present, Mamela and Ben coming in one vehicle, so it would be Mamela and Ben and then Joshua. So what is your typical arrival style to the farmer's market?
before we take off, I asked Ben, once we get the text message about the creepy cop, I asked her, do you want to take my car, or do you think we're good with this car?
Out of caution, I guess we can take your car. Because mine is too unique, I guess.
Well, yeah, mine is kind of unique too, but I didn't take my car, so there's that. It's a 66 Lincoln Continental painted black.
Okay, so we swap cars, but then I would definitely make sure to let him know that Marcus normally has me pull around the back and go in through the bigger doors.
Yeah, I would need the space because his car and that godforsaken Audi is going to take up most of the front, so we should probably go in the back.
And the Audi is not that big, only a two-seater.
There's a space still left behind where the dust cover car. Oh shit! Yeah, the dust cover car has room for one more car behind.
Would it be enough space for a 66 Lincoln Continental?
Oh yeah, the factory is huge. It was a 1930s paper mill run by steam. This is a big brick building.
Then we're good. We're good.
I can fit 4 vehicles parked correctly in that one space right by the barn doors. A fifth would be a trick.
We have to roll in order to park correctly.
Well, since you're parking next to a $40,000 Audi and behind my hidden car,
check.
I would appreciate care.
Fact check. Not a 40 grand.
Wait,
like 90 grand. More like.
Do you want to Google it real quick?
Google it. I've heard it before. They're like in the 100K, 90K range.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, just by proximity, and because Ben and Mamela circled back to pick up his vehicle and take 20 back to 65 down and around to, probably taking it down and around to Central and riding that over. That's probably be the easiest way, because from Central you can cut down Clay over to Liverpool and down and around to the not literal but very quite accurately described paper street from Fight Club, is kind of where the farmers market is at the end of the everything, not far from the river itself. Joshua, and your travail to the farmers market, being as his back alley mafia and criminal veterinarian clinic is considerably closer to the farmers market, you don't get the opportunity of viewing what's happening near the downtown area of Gary but driving through the neighborhoods, spending less time on the expressway, there is, without beating a dead horse, not just the desolation that you notice, it is everywhere through Gary. Is not an actual ghost town, because if everyone died, that'd be a kindness for the depression that sits in the air. It is, however, particularly guarded this as you make your way down and around just about to Clay, as this little area, this hot spot of activity that exists in that space between your shop and making it to Liverpool. It's far quieter than it should be. It is as if the streetwalkers and the corner boys, much like in an actual jungle, the prey animals know when there are predators near. It is that sort of quiet that you pick up on as you make your way to the farmers.
How crowded is this place? Just for like,
what the neighborhood I live in?
Yeah, I was trying to imagine it.
Well, the area that you'd be passing through is the northern portion of the new Chicago area of Gary, and it is pretty congested. There's a pretty high population rate as far as the rest of the city is concerned, because there are quite a few little clubs, little hole in the wall restaurants, all sorts of little things. It's kind of like a local arm of the central district for this neighborhood. You have to pass through that area before you circle across the river and down and around to the farmer's market. It is that sort of late night hot spot area, but it's extraordinarily quiet. The people that normally work the street, the people that are normally out and about doing far more than they should, are doing considerably less.
All right. I guess I'll send a text out. I guess to Marcus and ask how close. I mean, where exactly they are.
That's right. Joshua's never actually been. I look at the map real quick, and I know the area pretty well. I tell him, just take Central to Clay, down to Liverpool. You'll follow Liverpool till you get over the bridge, and it's the first left after the bridge over the river. It's called Riverdale.
Joshua texts back. Okay.
And as you follow those directions and cut through the northern portion of neighborhood, the central business district for this side of town, Jabiso, kind of go ahead and roll your wits and drive as you do so.
Yikes.
Well now. All right. So being cognizantly aware and active in the moment, with your thoughts racing, isn't necessarily your strong suit in this particular moment. What is apparent, what I've described thus far, is enough to have the heebie-jeebie settling around. Now, you're okay with the viscera and blood matter of human bodies, of human-like bodies, but the desolation on the streets as you make your way to the farmer's market sets your mind running with all of the choices that lay ahead of you. So much so that you don't notice until it's far too late the lady pushed in front of your car as a fight erupts literally right there at Central and Clay, just past the Strong Hill Auto. And while that's happening, Ben and Amela, you get in your car, circling up and around, taking 65 down until you hit Central, merging off, taking that down and around. As you're doing all of those nice, easy travails, the usual passes that you all take to get to the farmer's market, there is, right when you pass where the depot is, looking off of 20 at where it is, you realize what that dark black smoke could mean. I'm taking it that you guys had the opportunity to text or at least talk about certain things that you witnessed last night, and if you hadn't, now would be the perfect time to do so, considering that you know that tonight is not a depot night. You know that there is no business done at the depot because they typically skip a day, and with them gearing up for whatever it is that they were gearing up for, you know that tonight would not be a night of operation. All of their normal vendors and contractors are otherwise indisposed somewhere else in the city, living their best lives, or as close to their best lives as they can. Yet, as you all take 20 down and around, you realize that smokestack is smoking at the depot.
Ben, at the depot? Should we get to the guys or should we head straight to the depot?
Well, I would say we're better together in groups of more than two, but there was what happened last night, which I've been meaning to talk to you about, mind you. What happened?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. Well, from my perspective, I took a overwatch position in one of the tall buildings, and they were moving bodies out the back through trucks. But the thing is, that was Adam's men moving bodies. They were alive from what I could tell. Possibly. They were legitimately moving people like slaves. I haven't seen anything that horrible since the 20s.
Well, look, I know you know the depot has a history. You didn't realize that was the sort of thing that was going on?
I didn't know that was going on because I just got here from New Orleans. So I didn't know what was happening, but I knew that those were Adam's men doing it, so I didn't say anything.
That's a problem, but you have to understand. It's not ideal. It's not. And somebody should do something about it, but typically, so that we don't make enemies, some things are looked over or ignored. So, but
I agree.
what I think is going on right now is not okay. I think they're burning evidence.
I agree with you. So, should we pick up the guys?
Yeah, let's get there as quick as we can and let them know what's going on.
Okay. Oh, by the way, when you get a moment, can you possibly get a stronger engine in this car?
I'll have to source something, but it'll take me about a week.
That's fine. I'll go ahead and try to quickly get to the actual building as quickly as I can safely without breaking any traffic laws.
Well, that's pretty easy to do. With Ben knowing her way around, everyone thinks that the fastest way is taking the expressways down and around, but oftentimes the fastest way is to avoid the expressway as much as possible because, well, speed kills and no one believes that if what happens to them. So as you all make it to the farmer's market, coming down Clay, before you even make that right onto Liverpool, right when you're crossing Central, cars are your thing, so you get a +1. Would both of you all be so kind as to roll wits plus drive for me, please?
Okay, I got 1 so far.
Yeah, just waiting on Ben's roll. Ben, did we lose you?
I'm back. Sorry, what I miss.
We were waiting on Ben's wits plus drive plus situational bonus roll. Seems as if we may be having small difficulties. Let me reach out.
Sorry, my dogs are attacking my cat.
You're having a gang fight? That's kind of apropos.
They're chihuahuas, so they don't actually bite. They're all cowards. But they'll chase and bark at her.
Alright, let's as if we have a small difficulty with Ben. So,
just assume it was a normal success or something like that.
Yeah, so, that being the case, caught unawares as you are, Joshua, a lady falls in front of your vehicle. Would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and drive? You need 2 successes to avoid hitting her. Josh?
Sorry.
Your dexterity and drive roll, you need 2 successes to avoid hitting the lady falling in front of your car.
4 successes, surprising.
Nicely done. You see it a second too late, and so you don't have enough time to ease into and swerve gently around. Somehow you still manage to keep full control of your vehicle as it all but goes up on 2 wheels, and the lady that was destined to fall in front of your car and be trampled by your speed and weight is left alive. You skid to a stop. People are screaming. Cameras are out. What is it that you're doing? Because as you do so, as she hits the ground and you skid to a stop, your brakes squealing in pain, you see Mamela's vehicle as Ben is pointing at you at the scene of an accident, or what could have been an accident. What is it that you're doing as a lady is standing up, her hair blocking
obfuscating her face as she's slamming on the hood of your car. How fucking dare you? Don't you see me walking here?
Well, excuse me, I didn't see a crosswalk anywhere.
Oh, and you want to get smart about it? You know what? My boyfriend's gonna kick your fucking ass, asshole. Mamela, Ben is pointing out the window as you guys are coming down at what's happening and what's taking place. You've seen Joshua's car before. You know, having been in problematic situations like this before, what will most likely or should most likely be the outcome.
How close are we to everyone else?
7.5 minute drive time.
Okay. It doesn't look like Joshua would particularly need help because it's some weird lady being weird. So I'm going to assume that that's basically what that is. It's just some lady being weird. Keep driving towards the actual to where Mason and Marcus is.
Okay, coolness. Back to the scene of the crime, as it were.
Can I shout out the window towards Josh?
A text would suffice. As she's pounding on the hood of your car, Josh, what is it that you're doing?
I really don't need this. Can I just give you like $100 and even Steven, we'll forget about this?
Oh, you gonna try to bribe me? You're not gonna even get out the car and apologize? You fucking shitheel! And she kicks you.
I really need to see some friends. It's very important. Emergency. I can't deal with this. Can we please just let this roll off?
She kicks your car again. This time it is with every intention of being as problematic as possible, as attracting as much attention as possible, as reprehensibly, chaotically minded as possible. Oh. And when she does kick your car, your bumper flies off. You asshole with this piece of shit car. You entitled fucking rich boy driving a piece of shit junk car. You probably don't even have $100.
I have not paid this car off yet. You walk out in the road and I almost hit you because the road is where cars go and you break my bumper. I've had enough of this. Joshua's gonna attempt at cloud memory.
Really? You're gonna get out the car and make eye contact with her?
Yes.
Excellent. As you step out of the car to prohibit what may befall you, would you be so kind as your wits and awareness? You get out of the car with every intention of putting this woman in her place, of calming things down and smoothing things over by getting close enough. And you make eye contact with her. As you do so, your defensive action, would you be so kind as to roll dexterity and athletics? Oh.
Wonder.
You see it happening in slow motion, but at the last possible second, as you're focused on trying to catch her gaze, trying to make eye contact with her, the blur of the fist that connects with your jaw, you see the hand pulling back. The next blow is aimed to take you up and off your feet. The one thing that you know as your jaw smarts and aches is that she's moving far too fast. And that blow that landed against your cheek, well, yes, it is only rounded up. It's going to be too superficial. That shouldn't have happened. You've taken punches before. Your breathing living days. It didn't hurt that much, or it didn't, as far as you can remember.
Joshua's gonna hold his jaw. Okay. that was not a punch from a normal person. Who are you?
Oh dear. She whispers as she steps in to give you a left-handed gut shot to bring you to your knees. It's a little too late to ask that. You and your buddy snooping around where you don't fucking belong. As she stepped in for the punch, is there anything you're doing besides talking?
While Josh was smoothing over his jaw, he's gonna try to lengthen some of those teeth for a nasty surprise.
Okay. She steps in and hits you hard enough to cause you to, if you were alive, it'd be that perfect movie punch that causes the spittle to fly from it landing in the sternum. Your breath would clearly be taken, and it's clear that the young lady in front of you has some martial skill.
Okay, why are you beating me again?
Oh, I'm going to take you to some people that's going to ask you severe questions. Better have the right answers. But first, I got to tenderize you. So you're pretty much taking the hit, the second hit as well. You're not attempting to dodge, evade, get the hell out of dodge.
Josh had enough time as athlete to do anything with his flesh. I guess I'll try to roll out and jump out of the way and get back to my car.
Okay. Dexterity and athletics. You know what your target number is. Make it happen. As best as possible.
Oh no.
Oh, there's no hiding what you are. In that moment, as that third shot is whirling around, as she's attempting to literally beat you into torpor to remove you from this scene, you clear the distance of your car, from the hood of your car to just behind the door which you left open in the driver's seat. You literally leap 6 feet away in one single solitary motion. A hiss on your face. There's no way that anyone present who was close enough to see your face does not know that those were fangs as you hissed, "Son of a bitch!" And with it being so high, as you leap behind the door, you're already half in, smashing on the gas, pulling the door closed behind you. A car clips her, sending her sprawling into the road. Because of how quickly you moved, you also catch a glimpse of her kidnap team as they were rushing to help her with your problematic person. As you are driving away, you also catch sight of all the texts that have been. So, 7 minutes later, as you ease toward the farmer's market, which is roughly 2.5 minutes behind Ben and Mamela, you all are parking. You parking just outside the door, them already moving inside. In reverse alphabetical, Mason, Marcus, with everyone arriving, what is it that you guys are doing?
Well, I've been trying to keep Mason entertained while everybody's arriving, while at the same time, doing work and making money, because some of us don't have a trust fund to sit on. I'm printing out labels. I'm pulling stuff out of the 3D printers. I made sure there's room for the gigantic tuna boat of a car that's about to arrive. And basically just running around in my ADD, trying to do 9 things at once.
Mason, being as you are, like everyone else, part of the group chat, the text messages that you guys send back and forth, having seen those text messages?
Oh, the text messages about just
the fire at the depot, them being on their way, asking if there's room for the car.
All right. So, forwarding a little bit in time as everyone's pulling in, how are you guys dealing with? What are you communicating? What are you sharing? What's happening now with you all pulling in? Joshua's still not quite there.
I'm gonna have to have Joshua park around back on the river side of the factory to hide his car. That's for damn sure. And what the fuck is this about the depot being on fire or smoke coming out of the depot?
Yeah, the depot's on fire. We should probably get there.
Not on fire. The chimney is billowing black acrid smoke. There's a chimney on the backside of the cathedral portion of the depot, but there's no one that's supposed to be there tonight. Yet the chimney is active, which is rarely active. It is billowing thick, billows, black, acrid smoke. Luckily, most people don't really pay attention. One factory is as good as another, so they don't realize that from a distance, i.e. off of 20 looking south at the depot, that there's anything out of the ordinary. But you all were there last night.
So that can't signify anything good.
Josh,
You guys think we should head that way?
Then it's been a little quiet due to this smoke triggering a memory for her. Anybody that's known her for a while knows that she was in World War II, and stuff like this obviously happened during that time, so it's causing some issues for her focus-wise.
Hey, I know that I'm not the biggest pillar of our little group. I mean, Ben knows everything, Mamela can fight everything, Joshua can fix everything, and Mason can talk to everything. But I'm the information guy, and my opinion is that we need information.
That's fair. I sent a text to Adam asking him, is he conducting business at the depot because there's smoke coming out the out of the chimney.
As you compose that text, the squeal of brakes and the skidding of tires on roadways not meant to be traveled at such heightened speed, Joshua comes sliding to a stop.
I'm going to check the front camera real quick. Make sure I know who it is.
Oh, it is definitely Joshua. Ben could tell you the make and model of the car that those brake pads are now ruined on.
Josh was gonna open the door and stumble out, holding his gut.
You okay there, Josh?
What is Josh's total health possibility? Because he just took 4 superficial points of damage.
2. He's really messed up.
He has been beaten within an inch of his own life. And beaten, you could tell, because while dead flesh doesn't bruise, it is able to be marred, mashed, and otherwise contused. And that's exactly what his face looks like he ran into something or someone with it repeatedly.
I get him inside, and there's a work table by the bookshelves that I could let him lay out on.
What happened to you?
Some crazy lady I thought was just a freaking drunk. Turned out to be some kindred. Beat the shit out of me and said I had dug too deep or something of the like. I think all my ribs are broken. They're puncturing what would be my lungs. Dead little sacks now.
Did she also rip off your bumper?
I think it was a itch.
I have blood to spare for the night. If we need to get you healed up, you can't go out like this.
I'm trying to get my body healed itself. And roll the rouse. Right. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think it was just Sam. Can I roll the rouse check to try to heal?
Yes, of course you can. That should place you at hunger 3, correct?
Yes, it would.
Yeah. The beast moves from softly scratching at the inside door of your mind
to insistently pounding. But you do start to look slightly better. Meaning the flesh works that way. Even though the better you look outside, the worse you feel inside as the beast crawls closer to the surface and becomes more insistent.
I should use some of that blood right now.
Run up to the third office in the suspended area above the floor and raid that fridge for just a double handful of blood bags.
Okay.
And run back down.
And Joshua, do you have Iron Gullet?
I do not.
Okay.
I think I'm the only one.
All right. So as the blood bags come pouring in, as Marcus reaches into his spare stock, his emergency supply, would you be so kind as to roll a willpower check for me? You muscle down the cast off.
He's one of my primary sources, so this is all blood he knows. He got it for me.
Yes, but he himself doesn't drink it. Never get high on your own supply. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll that willpower for me, Josh?
Do I roll my current willpower's dice or my
Yes.
for 100? Sorry.
You don't need hunger with willpower, but knowing where the blood comes from, knowing that you are not specifically nor bent to that sort of ration, you choke it down, expecting it to violently spew from you. Instead, your stomach flip-flops. The urge to gag definitely tickles the back of your throat, but you keep it down. And unlike 90% of the times where you bother to take a sip from bagged or otherwise less than fresh, you not only keep it down, but you do obtain half of whatever you drink in regards to returned blood towards your hunger. So if you drink 2, you get more. 4, you get 2.
I'll try to exhaust his supply, so I'll just take 2 bags, just put myself a little lower.
Okay, that puts you back at hunger 2.
Since I see he seems to be having a little bit of a problem with it, can I offer to give him some of mine, and then I'll take the bag because I have Iron Gullet?
You most assuredly can.
So she's just very quietly walks up to Josh and pulls out like the little pocket knife she keeps, puts a slash across her palm and practically shoves it in his mouth and just says, "Shut up and take it."
What? Oop.
All right, and go ahead and roll that lovely rouse. How many points are you attempting to give him? He's down to 2. He's roughly down to 2 hunger. He is looking better, and there's still more mending for him to do.
So I'm gonna take him back down to 1 because I'm already at 3 hunger myself, so it's a dangerous proposition for me to go any lower.
All right, make it happen.
As she offers to feed Joshua, my stomach roils a little bit because I'm still not used to this part of being a Fang. So I grab Joshua's keys and head out to his car and move it around to the back of the factory on the riverside so it's not visible from the street.
Oh, lovely.
They're doing this whole orgy thing with the whole licking and biting on each other. I'm gonna go out too and set the perimeter. If they went ahead and smashed up on him, there's a good chance that they followed him back. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the perimeter.
All right, so Marcus, having taken the keys from Joshua and moving out the car, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll wits plus surveillance for me, please?
Surveillance?
Awareness, sorry.
Oh,
Either awareness or larceny. And Mamela, as you're trailing out behind him, a couple of actions afterwards, would you be so kind as to roll either wits plus awareness or wits plus larceny, whichever one's higher, -1.
Okay, they're about the same, so shucks.
Okay.
Okay. You all head out, moving Joshua's car and keeping an eye up and down the road, keeping an eye on the river itself and watching the bridge that, not that far away. It's actually easily within your viewpoint, at least as far as big, bright things like cars and trucks moving across it. But it's a nice, quiet night. There's nothing like an Indiana night to make you wish that you were anywhere else in the world. And much the same as all of that, as you all park Joshua's car and head back inside with this moment of sharing being completed. Mason, are you still here? We'll take that as technical issues with Discord.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay, so I've been saying stuff this entire time, but I'm just like, wait, why isn't anybody responding?
Yeah, no, you were not loud and clear, unfortunate. What were you saying?
Basically, while everybody was getting their blood fixed, I was asking. So I was basically saying everybody except Marcus had an encounter with a strange figure.
Yes.
I didn't. And didn't.
Well, you kind of did, but all the same, yes and no. Everyone had a moment this evening. Everyone had things being slightly out of place. Some people had silent watchers. Some people had more active participants in their lives. As everyone settles back inside the farmer's market, there are several things that make themselves abundantly clear. You all, together and separately, have popped up on certain people's radar. You all have a choice ahead of you that must be made. And remember, inaction is an action. Not choosing is still a choice. There are several clear-cut power structures in the city conspiring against each other and for their own interests. It unfortunately is clear that they focus their attentions outward, and you guys are considered out of those organizations unless, of course, you choose to join them, or you choose to take them over, or you choose to run. After several long conversations and debates over the course of the evening, what is it that you guys are putting forth? Where do you all stand?
I think what we're looking at, from what you guys are describing, the fake cop was an intimidation tactic. Somebody trying to force Mason to make a decision. Joshua's interaction was an attempt at, let's just say it, kidnapping. And that's two groups pulling in different directions, using different focus and different paths to forcing some of us into areas. I myself have dealt with the Vanguard and with the Region. They've both come to me for my skills. So obviously I'm being asked to make a choice.
Also, because I was easily identified by my vehicle, I would like to get my plates and paint job done, if that's possible. If your schedule's too packed up, then I can have somebody else do it.
Bring it by. I'm sure I can squeeze it in somewhere. I just had an opening come up tonight. Looking at my mail, kind of cracking up.
Smiles and just shakes his head.
Cool.
Mason, I know you got the stock Audi electrical system in there and information system, so I'm going to volunteer to gut the GPS system out of that German nightmare you drive. You're going to have to rely on your iPhone to find your way around town after tonight.
Josh was gonna stand up.
Well, let's just assume I don't know anything about that. As in character. So, The only person who hasn't gotten a scare tonight, really, is you, Marcus.
No, because I got my scare last night. Remember last night? The crazy.
I don't think these folks were the tower folks, though.
The Vanguard. Guard.
Actually, no one has approached me yet.
Am I being stupid? I'm being stupid, aren't I?
Yeah, kinda.
You're being nice because they didn't threaten to unscrew my head. But
I wanted you to make a box.
they want me to make a box. And they want me to make some other stuff. And I get that, I make stuff. Yeah, great. But these are really powerful people. This is like the Queen of England walking into a shoe store and asking Ed Bundy from Married with Children to make her a special set of slippers.
I'm sorry, who?
Oh my god. Okay.
You ever watch Married with Children?
Okay.
See, this is why my profession is something other kindred don't really care about.
Okay, all of you need to take a pop culture class. Sweet Jesus.
Except for me, I knew who you meant.
I mean, for your old fangs, this is like the village cobbler being asked by the king to make a set of slippers.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the king being in my house is a problem. And the king's lead hitter is a problem. So I have not been, quote unquote, threatened with physical violence. But physical violence was very near to me and made very apparent.
I actually got the end of that physical violence.
Oh, you haven't shared? There's a story that you haven't shared yet? Other than the crazy fake drunk vampire that beat the crap out of you?
No, that's what I was talking about. I'm still kind of mad about it.
So, Ben, have they came and offered you a potential position?
No, but the night at the bar, when I was coming back in to potentially help, the one that was at the depot last night stopped me from coming in and said she knew my name and said that I should come back another night. I've never seen that woman before in my life, so the fact that she knows my name and didn't call me the bike doctor like everybody else does is concerning to me.
So basically, all of us have been cornered by some member of one of the power structures.
Not me.
And
no
put
one
to
knows
task.
who I am. No one knows who I am.
Question. If I describe the person who stopped me tonight, would any of you be able to identify it?
I don't leave the factory except for to, talk to you.
You don't have cameras all over the city?
I have cameras all over the building. I'm not going to put cameras all over the city because those cameras will lead back to the building. See, information runs two ways. If you put a bug on somebody, they can track the bug back to the receiver. Gotta think both ways, Mason. I've been telling you that, and all of you Luddites that for weeks.
I don't know anything about bugs or anything, but yeah, we need to figure out what to do because this is getting bad because they're sinking all of us deeper and deeper, waiting on us to make a mistake.
My question is, were those people mad about my clinic or that strange patient I got? Strangest thing.
We are, as a group, operating under an informational detriment. In engineering parlance, this would be suboptimal. We need to know more. I know who comes to my house. I know who came to my house. I know who's been contacting me. It's the tower. We don't know who tried to kidnap Joshua. We don't know who that cop was attached to. but we have a guess, and Ben doesn't know much or anything about the person that stopped her.
Well, no, that person was definitely Tower. That person was definitely Tower.
So we have a heavy Tower influence in our lives right now, despite our best efforts. Joshua helped a member of the Anarchs. So maybe that's the problem. Maybe the drunken crazy person was a member of the Tower, mad that he helped an Anarch. Or...
Why would that explain my predicament of being stopped by an odd cop?
I could be a
Because
gold
we're all
cop.
working together.
Yeah, either it's one of us fangs attached to the Tower using the police as cover, or a ghoul attached to a vampire attached to the Tower. But if the Tower's pulling that hard on free agents like us, and I use that term loosely because I don't know whether I'm still a free agent or not, that means they're looking for soldiers. I don't want to be a soldier. I have no interest in being a bullet catcher for the Ivory.
So, how would you guys like to settle this? Because obviously the Tower is pulling you guys in. And yeah, they're pulling you guys in. So, how do you guys want to work with this?
They want me dead, so
Kidnapped.
I think we need to look at what the Anarchs want. I mean, some of you might have ties to the Anarchs. I don't know who I have ties to. I work for everybody. Anybody who contacts me, I build what they ask for and shut the hell up. So I could have been building shit for the Sabak for all I know.
You think you have?
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. Other than Silk and this Regent Cone, I don't know anybody's affiliation for what I've been building. When one of the old fangs shows up and they ask me for something, I don't ask where they pee. I just build the shit and collect my money. I was presented to the prince over a decade ago, and he has never sought me out since. I was presented to a baron. I don't know which baron, but that was over a decade ago. After that, nobody cared who I was as long as I built my shit, and I was happy with that. But obviously, the happy days are over.
Just give me one moment here because I'm starting to put things together. All right. You said the cop said something about you sticking your nose in business of some sort? Am I right?
It was like he was trying to get information out of me, but I didn't give any.
Yeah, but the fact that he said that
he also threatened people in my life, and also said I shouldn't stick my nose. Yeah, he basically said that.
Okay.
strange.
What happened last night?
That's similar pit.
Just pay attention to what happened last night.
Searched the depot and saw the growth stuff.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of depot, shouldn't we kind of go and find out why are someone burning things at the
That's
depot?
what I'm getting to, Mabella. Hold on. The fact that they're telling Mason to keep his nose out of things. What we saw, what you saw last night. The fact that I told you, Mabella, that most people look the other way during it. Most people know what's going on but ignore it because of the powers that be, and the people that run it are a problem to go up against. So if they feel like people found out what they are up to last night, it would be a reason to try to back somebody off and say, keep your nose out of our business, and then meanwhile be burning the evidence, which is what that smoke was. They're getting rid of everything that you might have seen last night as a way to cover their tracks.
All I can tell you about the basement that Silk let us into is it was set up like a factory, like an old school Henry Ford factory. People came in, people were used, people went out.
Remind me a lot of slaughterhouse. Felt like one too.
I mean, it was efficient. It was
Practiced.
practiced.
Everyday savagery carried out, and strangely enough, with everyone dressed in gas masks and the scent of diesel, the smell of gunpowder and mineral oil, it was practiced and efficient. The grotesqueries of literally watching pigs eat themselves is roughly equivalent to what you all witnessed in the
I mean, if I had not been distracted by the fumes, the fuel, and my fear of what that might mean, I would have probably fallen apart. I did fall apart as soon as I got home.
So why don't we start headed towards the depot again?
I'm good.
I think at the very least we need to get close enough to see what's going on and who's watching.
Because
What part of them telling you to mind your business did you not get?
oh please, someone telling me not to look into something, I'm going to look into it.
If it's information that people are hiding, it's knowledge they're hiding. And if they're hiding knowledge, they're hiding power.
And maybe a Lamborghini. I'm sorry. I'll shut up now.
Well, no, Mason. I mean, you more than anyone know politics. If we know more, we can bring more to the table later on.
That and knowing information can also put a target on your head, but I don't really care about that.
As you say, I don't really care about that. There is a knock upon the door.
Oh, crap.
Oh, how poetic.
A knock on the factory door?
Yes, the door that you entered in with Cone the other night, as a matter of fact.
Everybody, be cool.
Looks over at Mason, has his pen out already, which seems non-threatening to the average eye.
I'm gonna finish healing my broken bones over here.
Try to get up off the table a little. Maybe stand on your own feet.
It hurts.
I walk to the door, yell, "Coming!" and I walk slowly. Let everybody situate themselves how they'd like to look when the door opens. And when I get there, I open the door and I see...
You see Cone. He is standing there with his messenger, well-loved leather messenger bag, which you are slightly doubting is actually cow or deer, dressed in a two-piece with a turtleneck. He's looking very suave in his turtleneck and blazer. Did I have the wrong night? I don't hear any machinery.
Regent Cohen, welcome to the farmer's market again. You don't hear any machinery just because I've completed most of my other work already. your work requires special attention, and most of my machinery isn't involved in that.
Ah, I see.
Mr. Regent, please come in. I'd like you to meet my friends. And I turn around, hoping to dear God that they're not doing anything crazy.
Cone will do, and there is no mistaking. Ben Marsh, your legend has grown exponentially, and our newest addition to the city, Mamele Campo, and Mr. McGinnis, I believe, correct?
McGinnis, thank you very much.
Yes.
Mason also puts his pen in his pocket, trying to just like nonchalantly do it. Like,
And you, Mr. Bishop, I've heard some things. I, of course, was never really much of a fan of our dear compatriots, the dragons, being driven from their homes, but you must understand the past is the past, correct?
I don't know much about the past here.
Excellent. That's always good to hear. Are these friends of yours? Will they be assisting and lending their skills towards our project, or I have evening?
There are some questions I have to ask Dr. Bishop, but other than that, the rest of my friends are just here as we mull over the happenings of the city. This isn't any kind of official meeting, but we've decided to work together to weather whatever storm may come.
Yes, well, we are known for our storms. One of the many reasons why I chose is it as close to the jewel of the tower as possible. Its freedoms and its safety. Sadly, that is not the case for those who were at the Abandoned King. That is quite problematic. But all the same, shall we begin? The more the merrier, of course. Are you well, Mr. Bishop?
I'm here.
Here is much better than there.
Can we take a momentary break right now before we commence this scene?
Yes, of course. Actually, we are 7 minutes to the end of our session tonight and the end of our meeting. I'd like to leave you guys on that cliffhanger with Cone having arrived, because he really is interested in Marcus completing the grimoire as requested. But this is as good as a moment to leave and allow you all to work via each other with text and chat and all of those sorts of things. Thank you all for making it to our first inaugural premiere episode, and I will see you all in 2 weeks. Have an enjoyable evening.